Part 12. Well, I do it with bait. Bait? What sort of bait? With a worm, of course. Seagulls love worms, don't they? Don't you know that? And luckily for us, we have here the biggest, the fattest, the pinkest, the juiciest earthworm in the whole world. You can stop right there, the earthworm said sharply. That's quite enough. Go on, the other said, beginning to grow interested. Go on. Well, the seagulls have already spotted him, James continued, and that's why there's so many of them circling around. But they daren't come down to get him while all the rest of us are standing here. So this is what... Stop! Cried the earthworm. Stop, stop, stop. I won't have it. I refuse. I... Be quiet, said Centipede. Mind your own business. I like that. My dear earthworm, you're going to be eaten anyway, so what's the difference does it make whether it's sharks or seagulls? I won't do it. Why don't we hear what the plan is first, said the old winged grasshopper. I don't give a hoot what the plan is, cried the earthworm. I am not going to be pecked to death by a bunch of seagulls. Well, you'll be a martyr, said the centipede. I shall respect you for the rest of my life. So will I, said Miss Spider, and your name will be all in the newspapers. Earthworm gives life to save friends. But he won't have to give his life, James told them. Now listen to me. This is what we're going to do. Chapter 21. Why, it's absolutely brilliant, cried the old green grasshopper when James had explained his idea. The boy's a genius, the centipede announced. Now, I'll keep my boots on after all. Oh, I shall be pecked to death, wailed the poor earthworm. Of course you won't. I will, I know I will, and I won't even be able to see them coming for me, because I have no eyes. James went over and put an arm gently around the earthworm's shoulders. I won't let them touch you, he said. I promise I won't. But we've got to hurry. Look down there. There were more sharks now than ever around the peach. The water was boiling with them. There must have been 90 or 100 at least. And to the travelers up on top, it certainly seemed as though the peach were sinking lower and lower into the water. Action stations, James shouted. Jump to it. There's not a moment to lose. He was the captain now, and everyone knew it. They would do whatever he told them. All hands below deck, except Earthworm, he shouted. Yes, yes, they said eagerly as they shuttled into the tunnel entrance. Come on, let's hurry. And you, Centipede, James shouted, hop downstairs and get that silkworm to work at once. Tell her to spin as she's never spun before. Our lives depend on it. And the same applies to you, Miss Spider. Hurry up, start spinning. Chapter 22. In a few minutes, everything was ready. It was very quiet now on the top of the peach. There was nobody in sight, nobody except the earthworm. One half of the earthworm, looking like a great, thick, juicy pink sausage, lay innocently in the sun for all the seagulls to see. The other half of him was dangling down the tunnel. James was crouching close beside the earthworm in the tunnel entrance, just below the surface, waiting for the first seagull. He had a loop of silk string in his hands. The old green grasshopper and the ladybug were further down the tunnel, holding on to the earthworm's tail, ready to pull him quickly in out of danger as soon as James gave the word. And far below, in the great hollow stone of the peach, the glowworm was lighting up the room so that the two spinners, the silkworm and Miss Spider, could see what they were doing. The centipede was down there too. Up you get, earthworm. Come on, bring up some more silk. Oh, I don't like this at all, wailed the earthworm. It's only just missed me. I even felt the wind on my back as it went swishing past. Shh, whispered James. Keep still. Here comes another one. And they did it again, and again, and again. And the seagulls kept coming, and James caught them one after the other and tethered them to the peach stem. 100 seagulls, he shouted, wiping the sweat from his face. Keep going, they cried. Keep going, James. 200 seagulls. 300 seagulls. 400 seagulls. The sharks, as though sensing that they were in danger of losing their prey, were now hurling themselves at the peach, more furiously than ever, and the peach was sinking lower and lower still in the water. 500 seagulls! James shouted. Silkworm says she's running out of silk, yelled the centipede from below. She says she can't keep it up much longer, and nor can Miss Spider. Tell them they've got to, James answered. They can't stop now. We're lifting, somebody shouted. No, we're not. I felt it. Put on another seagull, quick. Quiet, everybody, quiet. Here comes one now. This was the 501st seagull, and the moment that James caught it and tethered it to the stem with all the others, the whole enormous peach suddenly started rising up slowly out of the water. Look out! Here we go! Hold on, boys! But then it stopped, and there it hung. It hovered and it swayed, but it went no higher. The bottom of it was just touching the water. It was like a delicately balanced scale that needed only the tiniest push to tip it one way or the other. One more will do it, shouted the old green grasshopper, looking out of the tunnel. We're almost there. And now came the big moment. Quickly, the 502nd seagull was caught and harnessed to the peach stem. And then suddenly, but slowly, majestically, like some fabulous golden balloon, with all the seagulls straining at the strings above, the giant peach rose up dripping out of the water and began climbing up towards the heavens.